Okay, now, earlier in my Raw discussion video, I did say I was going to give my WrestleMania 30 predicted match card, and I'm staying true to my word, and I'm going to do it right now, and I am going to say that the process of planning this card has been an absolute pain in the ass, and I am just relieved that I've finally got a card which I don't think it's the most likely one there could be, but I do think it is still possible. Some of these matches may come off as dream matches, and you know, I did kind of mix my dream matches in with reality, which you kind of expected to do when you're coming up with a match card. You're going to put matches in that you want. So I did that, but I also I made sure that they were ones that can still possibly happen, considering the current storylines happening in WWE. So I'm going to say this video may be a bit long. So what I'm going to do, I'll put the match card in the description, so if the video does end up being heaps long and you don't want to watch the video, I'll just put it in the description anyway so you know what the card is. But getting into the first match, and these are ordered from where I'd place them on where I'd order them on the actual card. So the first match, we have the Usos versus New Age Outlaws for the tag titles, and I'm always a believer that tag matches are a great way to open a show, like any show. I've always been a firm believer of that, and whenever I do match cards, I always make sure that tag matches are on the top of my list that would open. Now these two teams have slowly begun a feud, and it was noticeable on Raw. They did have a bit of a stare down, so whether that will continue until Mania, I think it will, but I'm not exactly sure. They may just pull the trigger at Elimination Chamber because WWE is known to do that, but I think they should wait, because if they do this match at Elimination Chamber and the Usos lose, which they probably would, who would be next in line? Because I don't think the Rhodes brothers are, and I'll get to that later in this video. So apart from that, there are no other teams that I can really think of that could challenge the New Age Outlaws. No face teams anyway. So I think they should hold off doing this match until Mania. And I think it could be a good match. Like, it won't be anything special, but I'd say it'd be about the same as the Royal Rumble pre-show between the Rhodes brothers and New Age Outlaws, obviously. I reckon it could be that kind of quality. So I wouldn't mind seeing it. As for the winner, that's a bit of a tough one, you know, because you could keep the New Age Outlaws on their championship reign, which I've been kind of dreading, or you could give it to the Usos, a young team that has a good future ahead of them. But you got to consider who's running the show: Triple H and Vince McMahon. So take that in consideration, and the winners will probably be the New Age Outlaws. But I'd still like to see the match, so I won't hate on that too much. I reckon it's a good way to open the show anyway. Then we have the second match, and this one may confuse a few people. We have Sheamus versus Bray Wyatt. Now, speaking of Bray Wyatt, I know some people think that he is going to go up against John Cena. Now, I thought that for a very long time. It was actually like 15 minutes ago that I actually decided to put this match on instead, and I'll explain why. It's all got to do with John Cena. Now, whether you like him or you hate him, John Cena is going to be in a main event match on pretty much any given show. Because it's got to be that way, because he sells the most merchandise out of anyone, and he's a good promotion tool for WWE to get the money. So they're always going to have him in a big Mania match, or any match on any pay-per-view. It's always going to be a main event one. And is Bray Wyatt versus John Cena, is that really a main event match? Now, I'm not taking anything away from Bray Wyatt. I think the Wyatt family were awesome, and I think Bray Wyatt has turned into a really good talent. His match with Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble was evidence of that. But I don't think him having a match at WrestleMania would be classed as a main event. I don't know why. I know some people are going to disagree with me, and look, don't get me wrong, the Wyatt family, they're big. They're a big attraction in WWE at the moment, but I don't know, I just don't consider this matchup to be a main event. That's all I have to say about it, which is why I don't think it will happen. So what I do instead, it would actually benefit the Wyatts in some sense. I would have Bray Wyatt versus Sheamus. I would have Bray Wyatt go over, because if he went up against Cena, Cena would go over. It's obvious. But if you go up against Sheamus, he should win that match, and that can continue Bray Wyatt's momentum. And maybe he can have a big main event match at SummerSlam, or I don't know, just down the road a little further. I just don't think this matchup between John Cena would be classed as a main event. And considering John Cena's popularity, especially with the little kids, which WWE is trying to promote towards, I don't think they're gonna have John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. That's the way I see it, but you may disagree. Third match, Money in the Bank making a return, and I'm going to explain why in a sec after I announce the participants. We have Dolph Ziggler, Alberto Del Rio, Christian, Big E Langston, Real Americans, and Big Show and Rey Mysterio. Now, the reason I think Money in the Bank needs to make a return to WrestleMania, firstly, it's when it was on the card, it was one of the main attractions. It brought in all the hardcore fans, and ever since it's been taken away, those fans they've been disappointed. They've always been disappointed, because there's usually only one hardcore match. If you bring Money in the Bank, not only will it entertain those fans, but it'll entertain every fan, because every fan loves these matches. And quite honestly, now that you've merged the two world titles, what is the point in having a Money in the Bank pay-per-view if you're only going to have one Money in the Bank match on there? It just doesn't make sense. It's like having one Elimination Chamber match on an Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. I find that stupid. I find having one TLC match on a TLC pay-per-view, I find that stupid. I could go through all the gimmick pay-per-views and point that out, but I just don't see the point in having this pay-per-view anymore. So why not bring it back to WrestleMania? I don't know why they took it off in the first place, quite honestly. I thought that was really stupid, but just bring it back. And it's always going to be a good match, and it's, yeah, I don't know what else I can say. You just need to bring it back. It's the smartest choice. As for the winner, going through here, I'm not totally sure. I'd probably go with Antonio Cesaro, because I think WWE's big on him, especially, and he's gotten quite a push, especially since the giant swing. So I think give him the Money in the Bank and, you know, like, just keep his momentum going. Don't squash him like you always do with your Money in the Bank holders. Just keep the momentum going, and, you know, you can build him up, and then, like, later this year, you don't have to do it straight away, because I honestly don't think he's ready yet. But later on down the road, when he's got more experience, when he's got a bigger push, give him the title then. I think out of those options, he is definitely the best way to go. So moving on, we've got the fourth match, brother versus brother, Cody Rhodes versus Goldust. Now, I know Goldust said on Twitter that this match won't be happening, but he's just working the internet, quite honestly, because you can just tell that they're building towards this match. You know, firstly, you had them lose the titles, and then at Royal Rumble, I think Goldust eliminated Cody, or the other way around, but one of them eliminated the other, so there's tension there. You just gotta keep it going. This is a dream match. People have wanted to see this match for years, and it could be a really good match. It could be one of those underrated gems that people usually forget, like Chris Jericho versus Christian at WrestleMania 20, or Owen Hart versus Triple H at WrestleMania 14, or Benoit versus Angle versus Jericho at WrestleMania 2000. It could be one of those matches, because these two have to be like the most improved wrestlers, like, in like the last year or so. Now, Cody Rhodes was already a really good wrestler, but I have seen huge amount of improvement in his work. And Goldust, my God, he is having the best run of his career. So this could be a really good match, and the story's there. The story's already been written out. You just have to actually make it happen. And I reckon it'd be stupid not to, so definitely do this match. Now, the fifth match, this is another one that's become pretty obvious over the last month or so. A triple threat versus the members of the Shield. I reckon they'll lose at Elimination Chamber, and they'll pretty much set up the breakup. We can see it happening, because what happened at the Rumble, and just stuff on Raw that's been happening, you can tell there's tension there. Now, I reckon, the breakup will happen at Elimination Chamber, and it's gonna lead to the match. It's kind of like the triple threat between Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and Ted DiBiase at WrestleMania 26. It's pretty much that match done all over again. You have like this group that's been together for almost a year, and then they break up, and they have the match. They have a triple threat at Mania. It's essentially the same as that. So it's easy to do, and they should do it, and they will. I think it's pretty obvious. As for the winner, I'd go with Roman Reigns, because I reckon he has the bigger future out of the three of them. I think they're all really good talents, and I hope they all succeed. But Roman Reigns, I'd say he's my favorite superstar on the roster at the moment. He's doing really good stuff, and I reckon see a big future in him, and he's improved heaps. So Roman Reigns for the win in that match, and I reckon it'd be a good match. So moving on, we've got the sixth match, AJ Lee versus Natalya for the Divas title. This match was just kind of thrown together to get a women's match on it. It's pretty much just the Divas champion versus the best pure wrestler, or the best pure Divas wrestler. So I don't think they're feuding at the moment. There's no real purpose behind the match. The only reason I put it on there is because I think you need a women's match on WrestleMania. I know they're not the greatest, but you know, they work hard all year. They deserve, well, some of them deserve to have a spot on the card. So I reckon that you need to have a women's match on there, and I think Natalya is the best diva. So I think just let her have the championship match. As for the winner, I don't really know. I guess just keep it with AJ. I'd let her have it for a year. You know, try and do the whole CM Punk thing. You know, something like that. But I don't know. It'd be a good match. So I reckon they should put it on there. Now getting into the 7th match, we have Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, no DQ match. Now I know I said that I think it should be Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton versus Batista for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, but after thinking about that, I said that if Daniel Bryan doesn't win the title before or at Mania, then there's no point in doing it. Looking back at that, I think it still should probably happen before that. I say probably, but I think they could stretch it on a bit further. You know, doing this feud with Triple H, how he screwed him. I think having Daniel Bryan go over, I think that would really set him up to eventually become the champion, maybe at Extreme Rules, or maybe this pay-per-view after that. I can't even remember. But yeah, so after looking back at what I said about that, I think, yeah, maybe I was wrong. Maybe they can stretch it out a bit further. So, and how this card has ended up, I think that it'd be best to have Daniel Bryan versus Triple H on this, and with the no DQ stipulation, I reckon they could have a really good match. And what I wrote a little note here. I have Randy Orton helps Daniel Bryan win. Now the reason that's there is because Randy Orton's not on this card. I honestly had no idea what the hell to do with him. You know, some people are going to say, oh, he'll be in the world title picture, but I have a different match for that. And, you know, I know Randy Orton was kissing the Authority's ass this week on Raw, but I reckon there's still some tension there. I reckon they will kind of split up. I reckon, you know, Stephanie said that there may be a new face of the WWE. I'll get into that, who I think that will be. So I think Randy Orton could be he could be jealous by that, and he'll take it out on Triple H, make him lose to Bryan at Mania. It's simple. So, and I reckon that could be a really, 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 really good match. I think it has the potential to be the best one on this card for sure. So I would do that match as much as I want to see Daniel Bryan win the title. I think maybe they should wait. Getting into the 8th match, this is probably the most anticipated match for me in recent memory. John Cena versus The Undertaker. I know this one's really far-fetched. I know this one comes off as a dream match, but just give it to us, please. Please, just give it to us. You know, you don't have to turn Cena heel. If that's what they're worried about, don't have to do it. Just say, all you have to do is have Cena go up to Taker and say, I've done everything in the business, but there's still one thing I need to do, and that's end the streak. You know, he can come off as kind of a heel because he might as well be anyway. He's gonna get boos from the adults in the audience anyway, but the little kids will still cheer for him regardless if he goes on after Taker. So this match can happen. WWE, you don't need to be afraid about turning Cena heel. You don't even need to do it. And the reason I really, really, really want to see this match more than anything else, because I could actually see Taker losing. I would go crazy if he did, but I can see it happening, and that match would be a roller coaster. I can just picture myself watching that, going crazy every time they hit like every time Cena hits a finisher. You know, because it would send you on that thrill ride, and we haven't really felt that with Taker's matches for a few years now. Like, I knew Punk wasn't going to win. I knew Triple H the second time wasn't going to win. The first time I didn't really think he was going to win either. The only time in recent memory I thought Taker was going to lose was the match against Shawn at 26, but even then I still had doubts. So, but this match, I can see Taker losing. Like I said, I'd go absolutely bonkers if he did, but I can picture it happening, especially the way WWE's like with John Cena. You know, they will do anything to make us think that he is the greatest of all time. Perhaps even including defeating the Streak. So I reckon WWE should do that match just to send the fans on this crazy thrill ride, because that's what it would be. And it would be a really, really, really good match. You know, just not for the fact that you don't know who would win, but I reckon they could pull a really good wrestling match out of their ass, because they had a good match at Vengeance 2003. I know that was like 10 years ago, but you know, it's just they can have a good match. That's all I'm gonna say, and it would be amazing to watch. That's all I'm gonna say. WWE, just give it to us, please. That's all I ask for with this WrestleMania. If I see that match, I'll be happy. Alright, getting into the 9th and final match, we have Brock Lesnar versus Batista for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, or whatever the fuck it's called. I really don't know anymore. Now, I said that the Authority was they were talking about having a new face of the WWE. I think Brock Lesnar, I reckon Brock Lesnar will be that. And I don't know how, but he will win the championship at Elimination Chamber. Maybe there'll be a match right after the Chamber match. And then Batista obviously won the Royal Rumble, so you'd have those two against each other, and that would be interesting to see, because it's two massive powerhouses. It's easy to write both UFC stars that came back to the sports entertainment industry. Yeah, and we haven't really seen this match before. I can't recall them ever having a match, so it'd be good to see on that standpoint, and it'd be I reckon they could have a really good powerhouse match. Now, as for I understand that they're both not the best workers, but you know, I don't know, this may not be the best option, but I think it would be interesting to see. And if they try really hard, if they just give 110%, I reckon they could have a really good match. And if they're willing to try and pull off a great match, then I'm fine with seeing it. And as for the winner, I guess you'd have to go with Batista to pretty much finish off his return story. So yeah, overall, I think this card is not the best, and I think there probably are better options, but I like this card just because there are some matches that I think could be absolutely outstanding, and they do fit the current storylines that WWE has at the moment. So yeah, so if this card happens, I obviously won't be disappointed because I'm the one that came up with it, but yeah, it probably won't be the actual card. It'll probably be way off, but you know, I guess we'll see what happens when the time comes around. If you want, comment your predicted match card or do a video response, whatever you want to do. And just let me know your thoughts. Yeah, and like I said, I guess we'll find out if this card's actually it when the time rolls around. So, later everybody.